Shadow magic, activate.
The shadows he summoned are gathering at his bloodstains.
Shadow beast.
My friends, we're here today to talk about my status as an assassin. This was episode number 6. And let me just start off by saying this. This was probably one of the best episodes of the season yet. But this show has a major flaw, and it makes it such a hard watch. Let me just say this, okay? I think it was really cool between Akira and Yoru. Yoru? I think it's cool between Akira and Yoru. Their relationship and kind of how that is unfolding. I like how Yoru continues to really dive into the complexities of the demons and really explaining kind of like demons are just people too, right? They're just a different race, just like beast people, etc. But they're painted as this evil thing. And we also got a really cool history lesson on why demons are the way they are. And that's because the first Demon King, or way back when, was a very peaceful Demon King who ruled the lands very peacefully. But of course, somebody wanted to ruin the party, and somebody killed his wife in her sleep. And she was an innocent bystander to, you know, you imagine there's political things that are happening within the world, and they took out his wife, and that led him to become, I mean, you could just imagine, right? Like your wife gets killed, you know, somebody who has nothing to do with whatever's going on, and you're going to lose your shit. So I really love that that's kind of painted as like, this is kind of what ended up happening. And like, there's a legitimate reason why. I think that's all super valid. I think that was all super cool. I also really like at the end of the episode how another demon comes in, and a lot of the demons just look like humans. So that's you know, Akira definitely acknowledged that, right? Obviously, Yoru is a shapeshifter and, you know, definitely more beastly, right? And some of the other demons are like, you know, minotaurs and stuff like that. So there's definitely a plethora of what you would call demons, but some of them just appear as humans. And Akira was like, these guys just look like me. Like, I don't really understand. Like, why are they painted as demons, you know? And maybe, hopefully, and maybe they'll dive more into that. But I think that's a big call out. But this little demon at the end comes in the episode, and he's like, oh, you're the Akira guy, whatever, right? So I think that's a really cool end to the episode. Also, one last thing, and then I'll dive into the negatives. It introduced Leah. I think we got to her a little too quick. We moved through the motions a little too quick. But, you know, she ends up being a princess of the beast folk, and she has barrier magic, and she's been looking at Akira to help him out to help her with her own cause, with some of her familial stuff that she had prior to her becoming a princess. She goes in and she dives into that story this episode. I think that was a really cool thing. And it also did a +1 to his girl harem, that, again, authors in Japan are just really addicted to writing. So it totally makes sense. And yeah. All right, now let's get into the negatives. Akira in himself is a bit of a negative. He's a very annoying MC, right? Like the author at times will depict him as super methodical, really thinks things out, isn't attached to anything, isn't attached to this world, is super intelligent, operates on a level higher than his peers, but then suddenly writes him as dumb, doesn't think anything through, gets mad at everything, loses his temper at everything, just says F it and throws shit at the wall and hope it sticks, and ignores advice. And it's just like, okay, is he, and I get writers try to do this to humanize characters and like, oh, they're just like us, whatever. But you can't write one person one way and then write them another way. It's just not good, because you get this drastic shift of like, well, he just had these moments where like he was playing checkers while the other guy was playing chess, or whatever way you want to say it, right? Bro's playing shogi while the other guy was playing tic-tac-toe. And then you have another scene where it's like he just jumped in and almost got himself killed. Like, what? It makes no sense. You know what I mean? It's like he has these drastic shifts. It's almost like two people are writing the same character. So that's a big negative, and it's a big pendulum swing, you know, when these things happen, and he becomes super, the things that you might like about it, he becomes super annoying. You're like, get the baby a bib. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, I thought you didn't like this Amelia girl that much, but I guess you're in love with her, you know, because she's yours. It's weird. So that's the first big negative. The second big one is the story and the show has a big contradicting problem. It contradicts itself constantly. At one point, you know, they're depicting the Demon Lord. You know, I think last episode, maybe the episode before, was like, oh, the Demon Lord, obviously, we know that there was someone here to take down the Demon Lord. We know that the humans are the problem. Like, we know that the humans are liars and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We know all that, okay? And from the Demon Lord side, is like, oh, I think Akira is being put on that demons aren't really, like, they're bad. Like, there's bad people, but there's bad people among everybody, right? Like, you imagine if our world was full of different races, there would just be bad people among everything, right? It's like the whole cops thing. People tend to hate cops. But really, it's like, okay, there's like a big percentage of them that are pieces of shit. But then the majority are just regular dudes, regular gals. They're just cool people, you know, doing a job, doing something that they believe in. But the 20% or 30%, whatever the number is, ruins it for everybody else. Those things just happen. So where I'm going with it is, I think we were all put on to where like, oh, this Demon Lord's actually a good Demon Lord. Not good, but like they're a good leader. They have a good head on their shoulders, and they just get a bad rap because the humans are spinning it, right, in that way. Kind of like how if you live in America, you're forced to hate China. But if you actually know somebody from there, or you've been there, or you know, whatever, you have ties there, you're like, what in the, you guys are trying to gaslight me here? Like, okay, they're doing shit sometimes wrong, but like they're not this pigmentation or this thing of evil. So the show ends up, you know, giving us a good use case for like, oh, the Demon Lord's a smart guy. Akira should probably know him, and let's get close to him. And then it contradicts itself, and suddenly, under the Demon Lord's orders, and to be clear, this could be somebody else pulling strings in the name of the Demon Lord, and it could end up happening. But at least in current state at the moment, we don't know that yet. The Demon Lord, in one case, from Yoru's point of view, had his or her eye on Akira and wants to bring them in and wants to meet them and stuff. But then on the other case, there's this third tier guy who, under the orders of the Demon Lord, was told to actually go kidnap the princess and forget the Akira guy, and she's the one that matters for reincarnation magic. And the Demon Lord is now vile and wants to use her magic for whatever he or she wants to use it for. And then the butler guy comes in at the end, and he's like, oh, the Akira, yo, you. So, and there's more moments like this, but I don't want to spend forever talking about it. But the show contradicts themselves. They'll say, this thing is blue, and then they'll be like, no, it's yellow, but it might be blue. It's like, well, is it blue or yellow? You know what I mean? Like, it contradicts itself a lot, and it makes, again, it's that pendulum, like our main character, where it's like, oh, they're super intelligent, they're the best thing that God's given Earth, and it's like, oh, they're dumb, and they make decisions with their pee-pee. It's like, okay, which guy are you? You can't be both. Anyways, those are my thoughts. The show is just, it's a mess. I think this episode was a 7 out of 10. I think it's probably one of the best of the season. Tells you kind of where my head's at. I think it's beautiful. It's a beautiful show. It's the anime. It's beautiful. It just has so many problems. But not the worst watch of the season. So yeah, I think it was a good episode, but it still brings forth all the problems that it has, and it's just so hard to turn your brain off. All right, see you guys for next week. Peace.